years for campus life, and I would leave school empty-handed with a car full of kids. I wanted the world to know Jesus as I knew him. Church was my haven of rest and peace. It was the place I wanted to be nearly every waking moment. If you would have told me the church had flaws, I would have fiercely defended it. When I first learned about Billy Graham, I wanted to be just like him, but only because Billy was telling people about Jesus by the multitudes. Then I heard about Bill Hybels. Somewhere around 2001, I joined a carload of students to drive an hour north to the Willow Creek campus in Barrington, Illinois. When I walked into the lobby, I saw escalators and food courts. When I walked into the massive 10,000-plus seat sanctuary, the hair on my arms stood up. Someone gets to preach to this many people every week? From that day on, Willow Creek Community Church was the epitome of success through the eyes of a new Christian formed in Western evangelicalism, in the economy of the kingdom. Church growth, large buildings, and bodies in seats. In my mind, this was the golden vision every pastor ought to strive for. When I began my journey in ministry in the early 2000s as a Youth for Christ director, we used to compare attendance numbers in staff meetings and then high-five one another when attendance was crushing it. There's hardly a pastor that would deny feelings of excitement when numbers are unusually high, or when the pastor glances out in the sanctuary and the seats are full. Needing to build more prominent and more state-of-the-art sanctuaries can be a thrill, no doubt. In my early days of ministry, I recall attending a church growth summit, and as a young associate pastor, I was enamored by one pastor's account of growing a church from 60 to 500 people. I couldn't take notes fast enough and couldn't wait to someday apply the tactics I learned that day. With a quick scroll through Google, we can learn all about the easy principles to church growth. Numbers tend to be quite a big deal for pastors. This can be a helpful metric and is something we celebrate for a good reason. As someone who has been so profoundly impacted by the gospel of Jesus, I celebrate any time someone decides to follow Jesus for the first time. I celebrate when lives are transformed within the body of Christ. I celebrate every time someone is newly baptized. These are just some of the few reasons I do what I do. Simultaneously, an emphasis on numbers as the golden metric for success can become unhealthy, especially when we pursue success at the expense of faithfulness or appearance at the expense of authentic community. After serving in ministry for quite some time and after attending seminary, I developed a more robust kingdom theology, ecclesiology, and pneumatology. I knew deep down that the metrics of empire weren't necessarily the fruit of goodness in the kingdom. I knew it, but it was still so deeply ingrained in the mind of this young pastor. Pasadena, California. In 2016, I accepted the new role as senior pastor of First Church of the Nazarene of Pasadena, affectionately known as PASNAZ. PASNAZ is a large and historic church in Southern California with a rich history in Pasadena as well as the Nazarene denomination. However, upon my arrival, many left the church, and although there were compounding factors, some of it was over the sheer fact that I am a woman. Many just couldn't do a woman pastor, even if their theology agreed with it. For others, it was a straight-up abomination and sin. Some believed that PASNAZ is doomed for failure and will lose the favor of God because they called a woman. Many simply could not comprehend a young 30-something woman taking on such a significant role, with small children at home. Many stayed, rallied, prayed, and jumped all in for the mission. Those that stayed are some of the godliest, most loving, and most faithful people you'll ever meet. But they too were trying to comprehend the scale of loss. Many were concerned about the sheer loss. The bottom dropped out of the place, some shared. Concerned members lamented, "Pastor, how will we fill the sanctuary again?" Which I interpreted as,